At a pivotal moment for the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, President Xi Jinping is experiencing significant challenges. Several high-ranking officials, personally promoted and appointed by Xi, have vanished from public view. Qin Gang, the dismissed foreign minister of the CCP, has been missing for 3 months, while Defense Minister Li Shangfu has been absent since the end of August. The unprecedented turmoil within the CCP's political arena has stunned the international community. An exposé by Japanese media revealed that at this year's Beidaihe meeting, also known to China watchers as the Summer Summit, signs of political unrest in China became evident. 94-year-old military official Chi Haotian teamed up with former Politburo member Jiang Qinghong. Together, they confronted Xi Jinping, voicing their concerns over his military purges. In less than 6 months, besides Qin Gang and Li Shangfu, former Defense Minister Wei Fenghe, former Rocket Force Commander Liu Chao, Political Commissar Xu Zhongbo, Strategic Support Force Commander Zhu Qiansheng, and 8 generals from Li Shangfu's Military Equipment Development Department have all vanished. This amounted to at least 20 senior CCP military and political officials disappearing. Although the informal discussions of this closed-door meeting have never been officially disclosed, details have begun to emerge. Katsugi Nakazawa, a senior correspondent for Nikkei Asia who served as a special correspondent in China for 7 years and winner of the 2014 Von Ueda International Journalism Prize, was the first to publish articles on September 5th and 21st about the Beidaihe meeting and the political unrest brewing beneath. The article said that sources claim that during this year's Beidaihe meeting, a group of retired CCP elders unprecedentedly rebuked Xi Jinping. Xi, according to the information gathered, subsequently expressed his frustration to his closest aides. In fact, before the Beidaihe meeting, these senior figures had already convened a meeting in the suburbs of Beijing to consolidate their opinions. Only a few of them later went to Beidaihe to convey their consensus to the current leadership. The face-to-face meeting with the current leadership, including Xi Jinping, lasted a day. The main message conveyed by the CCP elders was that if political, economic, and social unrest continues without effective countermeasures, the CCP might lose public support, threatening its rule. In response, Xi Jinping stated, quote, "All the problems left by the past 3 leaders have fallen on my shoulders. I've been addressing these issues for the past 10 years, but they still remain unresolved. Am I to be blamed?" In essence, Xi pointed fingers at his predecessors for the challenges he currently faces. Furthermore, an online whistleblower's revelations coincide with Nakazawa's article. An ex, formerly known as Twitter, user claimed that during this year's Beidaihe meeting, Xi Jinping was in a frenzied state, berating everyone from top officials to Deng Xiaoping, Jiang Zemin, Hu Jintao, financial and banking bureaucrats, real estate developers, and accusing officials of plundering the nation's wealth, leaving debts and ticking time bombs. In a follow-up article on September 21st, Nakazawa mentioned that the Chinese military is experiencing turmoil. At last month's Beidaihe meeting, Chi Haotian, former vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, attended the meeting and was seated next to former CCP Vice President Jiang Qinghong. Nakazawa suggested that the presence of such a heavyweight military figure could have made Xi Jinping uneasy because now he couldn't ignore Jiang Qinghong's grievances. Although Chi Haotian did not speak during the meeting, his silent demeanor was interpreted as meaningful, indicating the senior military's pressure on Xi Jinping and his dissatisfaction with the series of purges in the army. At 94, Chi Haotian, throughout his military career, primarily dealt with political affairs and served as the chief of the General Staff of the People's Liberation Army. He later held the position of Defense Minister for a decade. For much of his tenure as Defense Minister, he also concurrently held the posts of the Central Military Commission, a high-ranking military officer, and a state councilor equivalent to a deputy premier. Nakazawa believes that the internal purges, unrest, and rising sentiments against Xi Jinping within the military might be linked to the silent pressure exerted by Chi Haotian during the Beidaihe meeting. The credibility of reports suggesting that senior military and political figures of the CCP are pressuring Xi Jinping has garnered widespread attention. Li Manying, an online writer who has long been tracking Chinese politics and maintains connections with domestic officials, expressed to media outlets that he finds the rumors surrounding the Beidaihe meeting to be credible, having heard similar accounts from his own sources. However, he added that Jiang Qinghong, in terms of mobilizing support, has only Chi Haotian left. On September 22nd, Tang Hao, a seasoned Taiwanese media professional and expert on China, commented on the Crossroads of the World program that regardless of the veracity of these articles, they reflect several key points. 1. There is indeed a fierce power struggle within the Chinese government, not only between Xi Jinping and the military, but also with other party factions. These factions continue to leak information to international media to wage an information war, revealing internal disputes and widespread dissatisfaction with Xi Jinping, aiming to embarrass him. 2. The international information warfare aims to warn Xi Jinping against further purges within the military, suggesting the possibility of more explosive revelations that might damage all involved. 3. The strategy of, quote, exporting news and then redirecting it domestically is being used to galvanize anti-Xi factions within the party, government, and military. It is well known that every year, from early to mid-August, CCP leaders, both retired and currently serving, convene at Beidaihe, a seaside resort in Hebei province, for informal and confidential national discussions. Since coming to power, Xi Jinping has not been keen on seeing elders meet privately or exchange opinions. If criticisms of Xi Jinping from such discussions were widely disseminated, it could impact Xi Jinping's personal autocratic rule. As a result, he has issued official notices warning seniors against such meetings. He has also ensured these elders are closely monitored by his trusted allies. This year's Beidaihe meeting presented unprecedented challenges for Xi's regime. Observers, examining various pressing issues Beijing faces, speculate on the major national policies likely discussed during the meeting period. Topics would have encompassed political, economic, military, international relations, and various internal social issues. Wang Dan, a leader of the Tiananmen Square protests, told Voice of America that while Xi Jinping's regime appears stable on the surface, it is fraught with underlying crises. He believes that economic, domestic, and diplomatic issues were all discussed at this year's Beidaihe meeting, but currently there seems to be no significant strategies from the authorities to mitigate these crises. Around the time of the Beidaihe meeting, upheavals continued within the CCP military leadership. Xi Jinping not only replaced the rocket force commander and the political commissar, but former Defense Minister Wei Fenghe and recently appointed Defense Minister Li Shangfu both vanished. The Financial Times, citing 5 sources, reported that the U.S. government believes Li Shangfu has been subjected to an investigation and has been dismissed. Latest reports suggest that Li Shangfu was involved in corruption related to military equipment procurement and has implicated 8 other senior officials in similar corruption schemes. Zhao Lanjian, a former Chinese media personnel who was the first to claim on social media that Li Shangfu was arrested, recently told Elite Forum that Xi Jinping's major purge of the military has only just begun. According to Zhao Lanjian's contact within the military, the army consists of massive factions. What we've seen so far is only the beginning, and in the future, the crackdown will go deeper, affecting the intricate networks beneath these factions. Zhao Lanjian said that within China's current system, regardless of how dire it may appear, there will always be those who seek justice and strive to make significant historic impacts. He suggests that many within the military harbor intentions of rebellion and continue to advocate for factional realignment. These actions, albeit potentially limited in scope, might be seen as attempts for small-scale reforms or broader systemic overhauls within the CCP's governance framework. There is growing speculation that Li Shangfu's purge may lead to the dissatisfaction of the current vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Youxia. The CCP's military equipment department, which oversees weapon procurement, is also perceived as one of the most corrupt sectors. If Li Shangfu's alleged wrongdoings indeed took place between 2013 and 2015, Zhang Youxia, his superior at the time, may not be exempt from corruption allegations. As Xi Jinping moves to consolidate his control over the military, a recent editorial in the People's Liberation Army Daily took many readers by surprise. The August 3rd piece unambiguously stated, quote, "Our army wields guns and is an armed group executing the party's political tasks. Loyalty to the party must be the only absolute, unconditional, pure, and undiluted loyalty." The editorial continued, emphasizing that loyalty to the party is tantamount to loyalty to Xi Jinping, asserting that the military should always be in the hands of those who are completely loyal to the party and Xi Jinping. Yaida Aiko, the chief of the Taipei Bureau for Sankei News, mentioned in a September 16th Facebook post that both Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe were likely seen by Xi as lacking in loyalty. Drawing from historical patterns, autocratic leaders in the late stages of their rule often exhibit profound distrust toward their subordinates, frequently purging them. quote, "In just a few months, removing both the foreign minister and defense minister, two crucial subordinates, is an unusual move. Perhaps there is a fierce internal strife unknown to the public within the CCP. Could it be signaling the end of the regime?" Yet many of these generals were handpicked by Xi Jinping himself based on their, quote, "absolute loyalty." Why then, within just a few years, is their loyalty questioned? Yuan Hongbing, a legal scholar based in Australia, suggests that this stems from Xi Jinping's pursuit of personal dictatorship, with Xi Jinping's decade-long reign marked by economic downturns, mishandling of epidemic prevention leading to human rights abuses, and soaring unemployment rates. Officials find little reason to remain loyal. Adding to this is Xi's intelligence-led governance using the joint office of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and the National Supervisory Commission to oversee the millions of CCP officials, creating an environment of distrust. On September 19th, in his column, senior political commentator Tang Hao said that historically, whenever national leaders and their armed forces experience a crisis of trust, there's an increased risk of military coups or political upheavals. He cited Mao Zedong's fallout with Lin Biao and, more recently, Putin's discord with the Wagner Group's Dmitry Utkin as examples. Thus, the evident distrust between Xi Jinping and the military not only hinders large-scale foreign military operations, but also increases the risk of civil wars or military rebellions. Zhao Lanjian wrote on a social media platform on September 24th, quote, "Multiple media outlets describe this series of events involving Li Shangfu as anti-corruption. From the very beginning, I've insisted that this is a military coup, a factional conflict, a realignment, and, more importantly, a barbaric political struggle dominated by ideological differences. Anti-corruption is merely a facade. We are currently at a significant turning point in China's vast history. Everyone, brace yourselves. A series of thrilling events is about to unfold."